Good morning all of you. So today we are going to discuss about different stages of embryo. Yesterday I told you zygote, which is one single cell and it is having a diploid nucleus. Zygote enters into a stage which is called cleavage. In cleavage, what is happening? In the cleavage there is mitotic division. Single cell zygote, so that is divided by the process of mitosis. And it is dividing into two cells. The two cells they are again dividing into four cells. Four cells again they are dividing 8 cells, so on. So that it can make a spherical ball-like structure which is called embryo. Okay. So the zygote is dividing to produce morula. Morula is the part of the embryo which is having 18 to 16 cells, and each cell is called blastomere. Then morula is converted into blastula, and blastula is ultimately converted into gastrula. Then from the gastrula you can find out the different organs gradually they are developing from different germ layers. Okay. So what is the significance of cleavage? Distribution of cytoplasm among the blastomere, increased mobility of the protoplasm facilitates morphogenic movement. Unicellular zygote is converted into multicellular zygote. So the cell of zygote, these are called blastomere, and inside the blastomere you can find out the cytoplasm which is there in the zygote, because initially zygote is one single cell. Then gradually these cytoplasm equally they are divided into blastomere. So by the distribution of the cytoplasm, what is happening? It is helping in the process of morphogenic development. Morphogenic development means formation of different morphological features or formation of different organs. So that process that starts, and ultimately you can find out the single cell zygote, so that is converted into multicellular embryo. Okay. So now the morula it changes into blastula. The morula changes into next stage which is called blastula. Okay. So here you see this is blastula. Now it is divided into two layers. The outer layer that is called trophoblast, and there is an inner layer which is having some group of cells that is called inner cell mass. Inside you can find out there is one cavities there, and the cavity, so that is called blastocell. So here you see in the diagram, this is the diagram of the blastula. This outermost layer, so that is called trophoblast, and here you see at one point few cells they are present. So these cells they are called inner cell mass, and it is connected to zona pellucida, because the zona pellucida that is the outermost layer of the ovum. Okay. Then the mass which is connected to one end of this blastula. So this pole is called animal pole, because the inner cell mass that is not connected to all parts of the trophoblast. It is only present at some specific position, and this pole is called animal pole. And the opposite side of the opposite pole, so that is called embryonic pole. Okay. Now this inner cell mass, that is actually giving rise to embryo. Embryo is developing only from the inner cell mass. It is not developing from trophoblast. But the trophoblast later on, initially it is providing nourishment to the inner cell mass, and later on it is developing into amnion, chorion, amnion and placenta. Chorion, amnion, these are all the cavities which are produced inside the gastrula, and the placenta, you know, that is the connecting link between fetus and mother. So the cells of the trophoblast in contact with the inner cell mass is called cells of Gruber. You see here, this is the trophoblast, lining of the trophoblast. These cells which are in contact with inner cell mass, these cells are called cells of Gruber. Okay. So in summary, once again I am telling you, zygote it is having one single cell. Then zygote is divided into 2, 4, 8 and the 16 cell. 16 cell condition, so that is called morula. And the cells which are inside morula, they are called blastomere. Then you can find out these cells they are divided into two distinct layers. One is the outer layer which is called trophoblast, and another is the inner layer which is called inner cell mass. Embryo is actually developing from inner cell mass, and the trophoblast which is covering the inner cell mass and the cavity which is called blastocell. So that is providing nourishment to the inner cell mass, and later on it is developing into amnion, chorion and placenta. So these are all the points how there is development of embryo. So the next process, that is implantation. Implantation is attachment of blastocysts to uterine wall, because the zygote which is produced inside the oviduct. Oviduct, so that is a narrow tube, and gradually as it is entering in the process of cleavage, multicellular embryo starts producing. Then the embryo also starts moving in the inside the oviduct, and ultimately you can find out if this is the oviduct, this is uterus, and embryo is moving here gradually. Alright, so ultimately when the embryo comes here inside the uterus, then it is fixed to the inner wall of the uterus. The inner wall of the uterus, so that is called endometrium. So when the embryo is fixed to the endometrium, then the process that is called implantation. And the embryo, so that is pushing inside the endometrium, because the endometrium, so that is a thick layer. Then you can find out gradually with the help of the mechanical pressure, the embryo, so that is embedded inside the endometrium. And here you see the diagram. So now this is the uterus and embryo, so that is fixed to the wall of the uterus, and the process is called implantation. Now here you see the embryo, I explained you there is cavity, the cavity is called blastocell, and the outermost layer that is called trophoblast, and there is another layer which is called inner cell mass. Embryo is actually developing from inner cell mass. So here you see the inner cell mass, so that is just like a knob-like structure. Okay? And how it is embedded in the uterine wall, that is by the formation of finger-like projections which are called chorionic villi. Then this irregular mass of the cell, now it is divided into two distinct layers. Here you see the upper layer, so that is having the cell which are columnar, and this is called epiblast. And the lower layer which is differentiated and separated from the upper layer, that is called hypoblast. Here you see the hypoblast cells, they are small in the size, and these are cuboidal cells. So ultimately you know that there are three germ layers, and the embryo is developing from the inner cell mass. Inner cell mass that is differentiating into three germ layers, and all the body parts and the organ ultimately they are developing from only these three layers. There is no role of the trophoblast in the development of the human baby. The baby is developing only from this cell mass which is called the inner cell mass, because the inner cell mass it is having some different type of cells which are called stem cell, and stem cell has the ability or the potential to develop into any kind of the cell or the organ. So that is the property of the stem cell. Stem cell is not just like the normal cell. Normal cell only can divide to produce the similar kind of the cell. But from the stem cell, any kind of the cell or any kind of the part of the organ of the human body it can develop. So ultimately this one which is divided into two layers which is called the epiblast and the hypoblast. Now from these layers you can find out ultimately the ectoderm, endoderm and the mesoderm. Three germ layers they are differentiating, and all the body organ ultimately they are developing from these three germ layers. So how the fetus that is implanted to the uterine tissue or the uterine wall. The structure which is connecting the fetus to the wall of the uterus, that is called placenta. Placenta is the structural and the functional unit, so that is connecting the fetus with the mother, because there is transfer of many material from the maternal blood to the fetal blood. But the blood of the fetus and the mother, they are not connected to each other, they are separate. Okay? So here you see this is the fetus and it is connected to the wall of the uterus with the help of the placenta. In between the placenta and the fetus you can find out there is another cord is there, and the cord is called umbilical cord. Umbilical cord, it consists of arteries and the vein, because artery they are responsible for the transport of oxygenated blood, and vein they are responsible to transfer deoxygenated blood. So oxygen and the carbon dioxide. Oxygen from the mother's blood, it is transported to the fetus, because fetus is living, it is growing, it is developing. So there is requirement of the oxygen. Similarly, after metabolism, carbon dioxide which is produced, so that is again expelled to mother's blood. So that is a connecting link between mother and the fetus. Okay. Now what are the functions of placenta? Placenta functions are many. Placenta is providing nourishment from mother's blood into the fetus. Whatever food mother is taking, after the process of the digestion, food is transported, with the help of the blood. So the blood is having digested food, and with the help of the placenta, food material or the digested food can be transported to the fetus for the development. And also it is responsible for the transfer of oxygen to fetus and transfer of carbon dioxide to mother's blood. Also in the body of the fetus, whatever waste material they have produced, so that is also transported to mother's blood with the help of the placenta. So placenta, so that is acting as a barrier between mother and the fetus, and it can allow only those material or those compounds which are necessary for the growth and development of the fetus. Others are not allowed to cross the placenta. But many things, like for example, suppose you take the drugs, that is transported with the help of the placenta to fetus. Like for example, suppose you take the nicotine. If the mother is taking nicotine, then with the help of the placenta, nicotine can be transferred to baby and it can damage the cell, or it can be responsible for the abnormal growth of the baby. Or the HIV virus, so that is also able to transfer to fetus with the help of the placenta. Okay, but otherwise it is acting as a barrier between the mother and the fetus, and it can allow only necessary material to enter into the body of the fetus. Placenta is also acting as an endocrine tissue. It can release many different hormones. So what are the hormones? The hormones are relaxin, estrogen, progesterone, HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin, human placental lactogen. What is the role of the relaxin? Relaxin can relax uterus at the time of birth of baby, so that baby can be expelled out of mother's body. So that is the role of the relaxin. And estrogen and the progesterone, you know that they are responsible for maintaining the endometrium, because the endometrium, that is a cushion and the thick layer which is helping in the fixation of the embryo or the fetus to the wall of the uterus. So for the maintenance of the endometrium, there is release of the estrogen and the progesterone from placenta. Human chorionic gonadotropin. Gonadotropin, so that is the sex hormone which is responsible for the maintenance of the sex organs. And human placental lactogen, so this hormone, so that is responsible for lactation or for the secretion of the milk after the delivery of the baby. So these are all the different hormones which are produced from placenta, and these are all the different role of the function.